3, 2, 1. All right, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Otis Landerholm. I am the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Today we're doing a DACA update. We're talking about DACA in 2023, and I want to explain what's going on with DACA. I wish I had better news about it, of course, but I want to explain what's going on. So welcome, and thank you all so much for being here. Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration law and to make the most out of their lives. All right? So today our theme, this is our DACA update for 2023. And my question for you is, hey, do you want to get a green card? Do you want to apply for some kind of benefits? Do you want to at least see what your options are for immigration this year? Like, is this year your year to do something about your situation, change your life for the better? Because if so, go for it, and I'd love to help you with it. All right? My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years, and we would love for your case to be one of them. And so we're live, ladies and gentlemen, and so as such, while I'm presenting, if you've got a question, feel free to submit it. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, and we'll go one step at a time. And as always, if you do have an immigration case, you know, we've got our contact information here below the video. Do not hesitate and don't be shy. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you in any way we can. All right. So before we get into immigration law, I want to start by giving an empowerment tip, because this is the Empowered Immigrant Live, and the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. And so my tip today is to lead yourself, okay? Leadership. It's about leadership. You know, leadership can be a serious challenge, and that can be whether you're leading your kids or your family or leading a business or leading anything, any group of people. And it is a serious challenge. And it is also where the biggest rewards in life come. And often the most challenging place to start with leadership, the most challenging person to lead, is yourself. And, you know, it's like, gosh, we all face uncertainty in our lives. We all have self-doubt that happens in our own mind. And it's like, how do you lead yourself through tough times, through challenging times? And if you can master that, then you can really be effective. It's like the extent to which you can be effective leading yourself shows how effective you can be at leading others. Okay? And so anyway, so I wanted to share that today. One of the tips that I have for that is, you know, how do we really lead ourselves? You know, the best thing I can say there is to honor your word. And by that is, like, do what you say you're going to do. If you make commitments, keep them. And that is not easy, right? If you can, like, master that, you'll be ahead of me, right? I'm constantly discovering how can I get more effective in when I say I'm going to do something, I do it, right? Instead of when I say I do something and then forget to write it down and then, you know, and then wait for two people to remind me that I need to get something done and then do it, like that's less effective. Anyway, so take on really managing your own commitments. And if you can do that, wow, you can up-level your own leadership. And I'm 1,000 times better than I was when I started this firm and when I started this journey. But I still have a long way to go, right? Mastering that is mastering the leadership of yourself. So, excuse me, I now have something in my throat. Excuse me. So anyway, that is my empowerment tip for today. I hope that is useful. I hope it's helpful. If it was, please let me know. What's an area of your life that you want more more leadership in, want to take more things on for yourself, more empowerment in, and let us know that, and let us know what you're going to do to up-level your leadership of yourself first, and then perhaps up-level your leadership of a group or of your family or of others. All right? That's my empowerment tip for today. Now I'm going to switch gears, and I'm going to talk about DACA. I'm going to talk about our DACA update for 2023, which is the legal topic for today. I'm going to go relatively short and sweet through this, but I'd love to, as always, answer any questions that come up as we go. So to start off with, DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the DACA program, was announced in 2012, all right? And I remember it very well. I was a brand new attorney when DACA was first announced. I've helped hundreds of people get DACA status over the years. But the thing to know about DACA is that DACA was never a law, okay? It was never a law. It was never passed by Congress and signed into law by a president so that it was clearly on the books. It wasn't that way. It was a quote-unquote government program. It was passed under the Obama administration, and it gave what we call quote-unquote deferred action. DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. So it gave quote-unquote deferred action for people who had arrived to the U.S. as children. Now, thinking about immigration policy, right? There are people who cross the border, right? And who are like, hey, I'm not happy in my country, or I'm in danger in my country, whatever the situation is, and I'm going to cross the border. They make the decision to do it, right? There are other people who cross the border who never made that decision because they were brought maybe on the back of the parent, right? They came as minor children following with their family. So we might refer to these people as the quote-unquote undocumented innocent. They're completely innocent in it. They did not make that decision at all. They were brought here through no choice of their own. All right? And so the question is, how do we address that? That's a huge population of people. And so the DACA program was meant to address that. And it's to address it in just a sliver, just a minor, group, how can I say it? Here's the thing. The actual problem is this big. It's a big problem. I can't even put my hands as wide as they could be on the screen, right? The DACA program addresses this narrow subset of that segment of people. It's given a option for 800,000 or so people. Well, there's 11 million people who are undocumented in the United States. So the DACA program is really just a small Band-Aid. It's a very small benefit, all right? It's a very small, I call it a Band-Aid, because imagine, your arm is bleeding or, severed and you're just losing blood. Well, you just put a Band-Aid over it? No, it doesn't really solve the problem, right? And for me, that's what DACA was. It was like, hey, trying to do something, but really it didn't grant a stable right. What it grants is relief to not be deported and also a work permit to people that entered the U.S. as children from certain dates only and in certain narrow situations only, right? If they warranted a favorable exercise of discretion, if they entered before their 16th birthday. I'm not going to go through all the DACA requirements right here, right now. But it didn't grant all these people any other stable right. There's no right to request a green card, no pathway to citizenship, nothing like that. Okay? So that's the context. All right? And there have been several legal challenges to DACA, and that's caused a kind of even more of a wrinkle, even more of a threat, even more of a weakness to the program than there was originally. And the way the main legal challenge to discuss is a 2021 order from a federal judge in Texas that has required the Department of Homeland Security to no longer approve, they can receive them, but they can no longer approve new initial filings for DACA. All right? They can still accept renewals of people that are ongoing with their DACA status. But anyway, that order caused an injunction. They cannot approve new initial filings for DACA anymore. Bummer, huge bummer, frustrating, all right? Now that order's on appeal, and last year, 2022, the Department of Homeland Security published some new DACA regulations to try to appease that order from the federal judge. And now we're ultimately still waiting for the conclusion of, do those new regulations satisfy the law enough to be able to accept new applications for DACA again, or what's going to happen with DACA, really? I mean, that's kind of the big question mark. And however that gets decided, it's probably going to go up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is going to take time. All right. And, and where we're at is that people can keep renewing their DACA if they had it originally, but that the government cannot approve new initial DACA filings. Okay? So that's where DACA is at. That is the update. And so for now, it's like, what can DACA holders do? Well, if they're renewing their DACA, if they still have valid DACA status, they can work because they have a work permit. That's really what DACA gives them. You can also apply for travel benefits, what we call advanced parole. And if you do travel with advanced parole and re-enter lawfully into the U.S., you could use that entry to later apply for adjustment of status. There's wisdom in doing that, okay? And if there are other options out there, family-based options, if you're marrying a U.S. citizen or you have someone in your family that can file a petition for you, you can explore those options. If you have an option for a U visa, if you've ever been the victim of a crime, or VAWA, if you've been the victim of domestic violence or extreme cruelty in a household, in your marriage, or as a child also. If you have an asylum claim, if you're afraid for your life to go back to your country, you can fight for those other immigration options. Okay, you can do that, all right? And you can keep your DACA and continue to renew your DACA as a plan B. It can be your backup plan. But that's essentially it, okay? Because there's no direct pathway from DACA status to getting a green card. So that's it. That's the current status of DACA. We're all here waiting for the results of all of the litigation, but that's going to take a long time. And the conclusion of all of this, like what we really need, right? And the reason that DACA was passed to begin with is really what we really need is for Congress to do something about it. All right? And you might remember, right? Congress had proposed the quote-unquote DREAM Act, starting in like 2001, I think was the first DREAM Act proposal. And it's been reproposed in some way, shape, or form many, many, many times since then. And the most recent proposal that I've seen that includes something regarding the DREAM Act is the Dignity Act, and that's one that you can follow, and I'll have more information about that as as the months go by. But it's like, man, if Congress could pass the DREAM Act or some version of it, that would eliminate the need for DACA, and it would give these children, the quote-unquote undocumented innocent that I talked about, it would give this group of people a pathway. Often the United States is the only place that they've ever known. All right? And so they're really, the way to do it is to pass a law that does it. And the people that can do that is Congress. And so we all need to be aware of that, and we all need to pay attention. U.S. citizens, if there are U.S. citizens listening to me right now, you got to pay attention to how you're voting, all right? Not just for the president, but for your Congress people, your representatives, because we really need to be electing and supporting and funding and getting behind people who are going to be representing us in Congress in Washington, D.C. And we need people who are in D.C. who understand immigration law and who are willing to vote on it to change it for the better. And that's really the solution. Okay? That's really the solution. That's the way to, stop creating Band-Aid approaches and instead resolve the issue. Right? So, and there's a lot more that could be done to actually resolve immigration laws, but that is one of them. So that's my spiel for today. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope it's useful. I hope it's helpful. I got a lot of friends joining me here on Instagram. Thank you, everybody. Fiorlesa and Mr. Kausari, hello. And Joel Cinto, hello. Great to see you all on Instagram. I love it. If you're tuning in right now on YouTube or TikTok or LinkedIn or Facebook, did I miss one? Anyway, wherever you're watching from right now, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And I see a couple of questions, maybe just one question. But if you have a question, hey, send it over. I see a question from Norma. Norma, thank you for asking your question. Norma V. You say current DACA holders have the opportunity to do advanced parole, ? Answer, yes. All right. Yes, they do. If you have questions about that, please give me a call. Right? Yes, you have the opportunity to do advanced parole. I'd love to help you with that. For those who don't know what advanced parole is, it is a travel document. All right? You can file for a travel document. You can win a travel document, leave the U.S., re-enter the U.S., right? And there was a time, and Norma, maybe you're referring to this, there was a time when that leaving the U.S. and re-entering would not work to adjust status. The matter of ZRZC was the name of this case. And this was under the Trump administration, and that was very frustrating. And under the Biden administration, that case has been repealed. And so, yes, travel on advanced parole can be a game changer and a very workable solution for people with DACA. Okay? You gotta know it. Gotta know it. So, so I think that was the only question that I've got. Norma, thank you for all the information you provide. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for asking the question that you asked. I appreciate it. Okay? So, all right. I guess that's it, everybody. I guess it's perfect timing, too. It's 10:27, so I'm going to do this episode in Spanish here in just a few minutes. And if anybody else has a question that I haven't answered, please do still submit it. I'll still answer it. We upload our answers to YouTube. And so if you want to see the answers to more questions, hey, please subscribe to our channel in YouTube. All right, when you do that, if you click the notifications bell, you'll get a notification every time we submit a new video and new updates, news, things like that. And if you have an immigration case, or if you have DACA and you want to know your options, or if you just are an immigrant and you want to figure out what options you have, hey, please give us a call. We are here to help. We would love to help. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. That's all I've got for today. Have a great rest of your day. Have a powerful Thursday. And we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. I'm your host, Otis Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.